Hi there, my name is Laura. I'm an astrologer and tarot reader, and I am super excited to bring you my first ever YouTube video, which is on Taurus season 2025, what to expect as we get started. In this video, we'll talk about where we're coming from and where we're going, just so you can get a really good sense of where this Taurus season is going to take you. This Taurus season kicked off on April 19th with a Sun-Mars square. Now, this is a really interesting way to start this Taurus season, given that Mars was just retrograde and in Cancer for what felt like forever. Now, Mars in Cancer is kind of like this stuck energy. I picture Mars as a land warrior, a gladiator from, I don't know, like 100 AD or something. And he likes to wear his armor, he likes to carry his sword, and he likes to run through the fields just like swishing that sword back and forth. He moves really quickly, he moves really freely, and with a lot of force behind him, a lot of momentum behind him. But Mars in Cancer, Cancer is a water sign. Cancer is very emotional. Mars, the warrior, doesn't really deal with emotions. When you put Mars in Cancer, you're plopping Mars in the lake, in the ocean, somewhere really deep where he has to tread water. And he's wearing all this armor, and he's not the best swimmer, and he's just kind of treading, figuring out how to get back to shore. Now, when Mars is in Cancer, we can be passive aggressive, we can be frustrated, we can have a really hard time expressing those Mars qualities, that anger, that passion, that drive, and that can lead to a lot of frustration. So a few days before the sun went into Taurus, we had Mars finally move direct into Leo, and this almost felt to me like just a pressure valve being released. It was like, oh my God, finally we can start to move, we can start to release some of this frustration, and we can kind of go about our lives. Like we can push forward with some of these things that we've wanted to do. And what's interesting now is we have this sun square to Mars in Leo. The sun is in Taurus, and this means we have to make choices about when we get to channel that passion, that drive, that force. And that's because Taurus is very different than Mars, and it's very different than Leo, where Mars is now. With Mars and Leo, we can kind of do what we want. We can move quickly. It's a fire sign. Mars is a fiery planet. And so there's a really good kind of collaboration there. With the sun in Taurus, Taurus is very slow. It's very quiet. It likes to be still. It likes to observe. It takes small steps where Mars and Leo may take big steps. It likes to be calm, and it seeks comfort. So this square between Mars and the sun means that we're going to have to decide when to channel that forward motion and when to be still, when to take breaks. And that can be challenging given that we've had so much built up inside of us. Now, in this first week of Taurus season, we are going to have Mars opposite Pluto. So all of those frustrations that may have built up over the past couple months and way before, this is a time where we want to make sure that we get those out in a productive way so that we're not taking things out unconsciously, subconsciously on ourselves or lashing out at other people. So this is a really good time to pick up things like, I don't know, exercising more, or going to one of those rooms where they have all the old junk and you break shit, or writing in your journal and then setting it on fire afterwards, safely, of course. These are all things that will help us get out our maybe repressed anger in a positive, productive way. And this is going to be relatively short-lived. The opposition between Mars and Pluto is on April 25th, and Mars is moving relatively quickly. So it's going to last about a week or so, this feeling, and this window where we can get out some of that anger. The other thing we want to consider as we think about the start of this Taurus season is that right now we have Venus, which was also retrograde for a while in Pisces, in an almost exact conjunction with Mars and with the North Node. And so with this Venus, our two things are coming into focus. One, because it's Taurus season, we have to think about comfort, stability, and we also have to think about our relationships. And so this Saturn-Venus conjunction is asking us to get serious about those things. Saturn makes commitments. With the North Node in the mix, these are commitments that are, I want to say fated or karmic, but even beyond that, they take us where our soul needs to go. So if we have people in our lives who are supporting us, who are helpful, who we feel this kind of mutual love for, we want to keep those people around. We want to commit to them in one way or another. I'm not talking just romantically, but we want to make sure our people know that we care about them. And we also want to just strengthen those bonds because they're going to be really, really important moving forward. We also want to commit to our self-care routine. I have mixed feelings about the term self-care because it makes it sound like when we talk about self-care all the time, and it sounds like something that should be easy. It sounds like something that should be simple. And oftentimes it is, but especially for those of us who aren't used to pampering ourselves, it's not always that easy, and it doesn't always have to be pampering ourselves. We have to remember that Taurus is the bull for a reason. Taurus may be slow, it may be quiet, but it is a really hard worker. It just works really slowly and takes a while for the results to be felt and seen. And so when it comes to self-care, we have to remember that being comfortable often requires work. And I think at the end of the day, that's the problem I have with the term self-care, because we often refer to it as something that just doesn't take work, but it does. We need to take steps, especially with this Venus-Saturn conjunction. We need to take serious steps that do take a little bit of effort to ensure that we're not just taking the easy way out of things, to ensure that we're not just doing what's comfortable in the moment, but that we're taking steps to ensure that in the future, we are creating a foundation that promotes comfort, further comfort moving forward. So we're in this for the long game now. Like, this is the long haul. The steps that we take right now need to be calculated. They need to be, repeatable. They need to be things that we can commit to over time and create a routine out of. So that's about the first week of this Taurus season. I hope you found that helpful. Feel free to like this video, subscribe to my channel. You can also follow me at Sage Astrology on Substack or Instagram, or at Sage of the Stars on TikTok, and visit my website, sageastrology.com, to book your session with me. Thanks.